Hello guys, welcome back to another video. This is part 3 of doing preventable maintenance on the Fiat. If you remember the last video, we ended up changing the air filter, which is no longer there, and we ended up replacing the cabin filter. But today in this video, we are going to be replacing the charcoal canister O-ring along with the valve and all 4 spark plugs, hence why all the stuff is already off the car, like the entire intake box, all of that. Didn't want to bore you with taking this stuff all off because you saw me pretty much take this off last video, and there's so many videos of how to take this entire intake box off. So let's go ahead and get right to the video. First thing we're going to be replacing is this, or cleaning it, doing the O-ring and replacing this. Let's get to it. All right, so first we will be changing this, replacing the O-ring and the valve. But first I will show you how to get it off, or how I got it off. Now to get this off, obviously the entire intake box has to come off of the cover. And you are going to have 2 hoses with clamps you want to pull up, only 2. So get some needle nose pliers, pull this up and fish it up, and this will pop off to the side. And you have 1 on this side. Just be careful not to yank too hard because this is a piece of plastic that's probably pretty brittle and most likely will break. And you have 3 screws holding it in, 1 on this side, 1 on this, and 1 all the way in the back. After you do that, the entire thing will come off just like that. As you can see, that's where all the oil kind of gets fished or gets fed in there. Put that down. And as you can see, we have, it's going to kind of hard to see, but there's going to be an O-ring right here that we're going to replace, and we're going to clean the entire charcoal canister itself. So let's go ahead and do this. All right, so we're going to be using some brake clean to pretty much just spray this all on the inside and get all the gunk and junk out. This will pretty much dry easy. Let's go ahead and do it. Look at all that. All that milky, whatever all this is. I guess all the excess oil. Get all this cleaned out. Now this, like I said, this won't hurt it. You can, I prefer using brake clean. I wouldn't use WD-40, or you could just clean it on the inside of some paper towels, some shop racks, or shop rags. But all that brown gunk that's coming out of it is just excess oil. All over the place. Just in case you're wondering too, typically this should be cleaned around every 30,000 miles, along with the O-ring being changed in this valve that is right here. All right, that should about do it. I'm gonna go ahead and let this dry out, let it sit for a little bit, and I guess while it's drying out, we can go ahead and replace the O-ring that's sitting there. So, all right, we're back. As you can see, this is our new O-ring to replace this old worn out one. To fish this out, we are going to use some picks, and realistically, you can just use 1, even 2 of these, maybe like ones that are this shaped, curved. Oh, we'll try this one. Now, be careful, try not to get too deep. Don't like gouge it into the metal. You don't want to damage it. But oh, this is a feisty one. Oh. There we go. Either it's my bad luck. Oh. Look at that. Just snap clean off. And that was due for a change. That is completely compressed. So now what we do, let's go ahead and get a little bit of oil. Kind of lube it up a little bit. If we can. And go ahead and put it on there. All right, we got our new one on there. Now it's time to go ahead and replace the valve on the actual charcoal canister, then reassemble everything. All right, we are back. I decided to go ahead and let this sit overnight because it's still kind of sopping wet on the inside after around 30 minutes. But we can go ahead and replace the actual valve for this. So the old one came out. This is the old one. This is the new one. If you're wondering what size this came out with, we were using a 15/16. And this is pretty much how it went in. And pretty much came unscrewed just in my hand. I didn't have to get a ratchet and like unloosen it. It just kind of came off my hand. So, old, new, you can see. different part number, but they match. And you can just see it just screws right in. It's a little bit tighter because it's not warm, so we'll go ahead and use this. But don't over tighten it because it is plastic, so just remember that. So just like that, good to go. And now it's good to put back in. But first, like I said, I'm going to sit overnight before I put it back in because it's still sopping wet on the inside. And I just want to do it as a precaution and let it all dry out on the inside. So next we'll go ahead and do the spark plugs. All right, so now we're moving on to the spark plugs. And the first thing we got to do is pull these little pull tabs out. So probably the best idea is to take these gloves off so I can get to one of them. But as you can already see, one of the tabs is already broken. So this will just pull right out. And just to kind of clear things, these tabs really don't really affect anything. These will still clip into place. It's not like they're going to fall or pull out when you're driving. It will take a lot of force, but yes, these tabs do break pretty easy. You can buy these, but you have to buy the entire, I guess, little coil itself to replace it. I'll leave a link down to that below, so if you do break these or these already broken, you can go ahead and replace them. So we're going to get the coil pack out. These aren't that tight in there. A little bit of oil, not. Oh my God. You probably cannot see that. I don't want to touch it. There's a giant dead bug right there. Yeesh. Yeah, giant dead bug right there. I do not want that falling in there. I don't even know how he even ended up in this situation, but I gotta get him away from that, because if he falls in there, I'm kind of screwed. So let me just kind of deal with this real quick. All right, we are back. We got rid of the bug. Very afraid he was gonna fall into the actual hole with the spark plug set, which is why I kind of panicked and just made sure he didn't fall in there. Like I said, if he falls in there, if he did, I had no idea what I was gonna do and how I was gonna fish him out. But move on to the other ones. Actually, pull these tabs off real quick. Be careful when pulling these tabs off because these are just brittle pieces of plastic at the end of the day, and they are just kind of known for breaking. But these all kind of go into like the same initiation, so don't be too worried about like which way they go. You can always screw this up for the most part. 1, 2. There we go. Just like that, we can get all the coil packs out. Break them all loose. And yes, if you are wondering, I'm going to replace all these coil packs eventually. I'll either do just standard replacement, Alpha 4C coil packs, or 500 Madness ones. Kind of depending on what my taste is going to be like. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to do anything too crazy to think about, wow, that just popped out. And there's a lot of oil on that one. Oof. A lot of oil. Let's get this last one out. Oh, no, you won't fight me. The last one that needs to come out is the one that's gonna fight. Ew. There is some stuff, some weird stuff on this one. Oh, there was stuff on the inside of it. Ew. There's stuff on the cylinder wall in there. Okay. All right. Now we got these out. It's time to get the spark plugs out. That does not read wrong. It has been 1 week later. The last time I recorded is when I said, let's go ahead and do the spark plugs. And that is for one very good reason. If you look at cylinder number 2, you can't see on the inside, but that spark plug tube seal is completely rotted away and really crusty. And when you remember when I said I pulled out the coil pack and I said there's some really crusty stuff on there, that's because of this image right here. Yeah, that is pure oil. That is not supposed to be like that. The rest of this, for the spark plug sit at, no oil. Just this spark plug tube seal is bad. So I've gone ahead and decided to buy a new valve cover gasket, which is here right now. And we will be replacing it in this video, along with the spark plugs that was left. So yeah, it's been a full week. In that week, the cowl screen ended up coming in, and I ended up replacing this off camera, but it's very easy. There's 3 little clips that you pull up, one right here, one right here, one right here. And this entire piece just lifts up, you pull back because there's 5 tabs, and then you unhook the windshield washer nozzle hoses. There's gonna be one here and one here that you unhook. And also, obviously your windshield wipers have to come off. There's a nut that sits underneath both of these at the cap, but it's very easy to replace, like maybe 10 minutes. So yeah, that's where we're at the Fiat. We're gonna go ahead and remove the valve cover gasket. Before we do that, we actually have to remove a little bit of extra bits. The bracket for the heat shield, another bracket that sits right here. We have to take off the heat shield to get to it, and some other bolts here and there. So with a little bit of magic, this valve cover will be off. All right, we are back. We just got the valve cover off. This took probably maybe an hour and a half. This is not an easy thing to take off as I thought it was going to be. There's around 12 bolts holding in the valve cover gasket. Plus you gotta take off brackets like this, another bracket, remove half the timing belt cover just to get this off. But other than that, it did come off. It's not that hard, as you can see. You got your multi-air brick, camshaft, your spark plug tube seals, everything. It wasn't that bad. Unscrewing everything, some bolts were a little bit tedious, but now we got it off. So now what we can go ahead and do is take out the old valve cover gasket and the spark plug tube seals, clean it out and put it in. But a little note here is from the factory, they use RTV on certain spots. So you got right here, 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 here to pretty much just seal some stuff up, I guess, from the factory. So let's go ahead and get these spark plug tube seals out, the valve cover gasket off, and then we'll go and clean it. All right, now that we have the valve cover all cleaned up, we got the spark plug tube seals out, we got the old valve cover gasket off. These fought me forever, but they are finally out. The easy way to actually get them out is to get a flathead screwdriver and carefully hit the edges of a rubber mallet, and they'll pop through the bottom. Just be careful to not pretty much scratch the edges of this, because you do want these new ones to seat in properly. So now that we got that all cleaned up and ready to go, let's go and put these in. So these only go in one way. As you can tell, there is a notch that sits right here, and we'll focus, but one notch right here. And if you can tell, if I zoom in a little bit, pushes down, connects right here. So what we're going to go ahead and do is seat these in very, very carefully. We'll do all 4 of them. All right, now that we have them all seated in, like I said, facing the right way of the notch, we're gonna go ahead and take this rubber mallet and gently tap them into place. We wanna make sure they're all flush and sit like they should be. So I'll go and double check and make sure everything is fine. Push them down just a little bit. Push them down. All right, now we can tap them into the mallet. All right, now these are pretty much securely in as you look for the top now. Our other spark plug tube seals, as you can see, they're all in and seated as they should be. So now what we can go ahead and do is get the valve cover gasket and put this on. So we're gonna flip this around. And now the valve cover gasket only goes in one way. We're gonna untangle it very, very carefully, but as you can see with the valve cover gasket, there is going to be these little notches, if I can find them. Where are they at? There they are. There should be little notches right here that will line up. Let me show you what I'm talking about. But we have these notches right here, and we got one right here, here. Okay, just those 3. But yeah, once those notches, or those notches and all that, should line up with the valve cover gasket, and then they'll sit in place. So I gotta remember which way it actually goes, because it's a bit tricky. So, oh, actually, which way does this go? Hold on. All right, I ended up getting the valve cover gasket on. I figured out which way it went. But like I said before, there's really no way of messing this up, because you have these nubs right here on the valve cover that come from here to here. and then you have these little hips or lips, plus you do have this little thing, this little tab that shows where it goes at. But now that we got it on, we can actually seat it in. Well, actually, before we put it in, what you're going to want to actually go ahead and do is from the factory, there are these RTV little spots they put from the factory. They go all around these humps. So from here to down here, across here, same on the other side where it goes up and then up here. And then that's basically it. So once you get that RTV on, you put the valve cover, you can put it back on and you seat it, but you do not tighten the bolts all the way down. You hand tighten them in a crisscross pattern. This is the pattern it's supposed to be laid out and tightened as. But once you hand tighten it, you let the valve cover sit with the RTV for around an hour, maybe 30 minutes. Then you go ahead and you come back and tighten it to its torque spec, which is first, like I said on screen, 44 pounds at first, all the way around. Then you go back again and do 88 foot-pounds, and then your valve cover has been fully replaced, the valve cover gasket and the spark plug tube seals. So that's basically about it. I'm gonna go ahead and line this all up, get the valve cover gasket on, let the RTV sit for an hour, and I'll get back to you guys. All right, I am back. I just got the valve cover back on. It's all tightened down as it should be. I messed up earlier when I said foot-pounds. It is going to actually be inch-pounds. So it'll be 44 first, which is around, I think, 7 foot-pounds, and then 88 in the pattern you saw on screen. Here's that diagram again, just in case you want to double check and make sure you're right. But now that we got it on, we can go ahead and officially get to the spark plugs out, put the new ones in like I originally was going to do until all this came up. So let's go ahead and get the old ones out and put the new ones in. All right, get the old ones out finally. Shouldn't be too hard. Trying to break anything. Okay. Oh, is it going on? There we go. Spark plug should just come out now. Now make sure the cylinder walls are clean. I double check the clean mine for the rack for the inside. You can use an air compressor if you want. But this one should just come out. All right, that's number one. Doesn't look too bad if it focuses. That's not too bad. But all said and done, what are they changing them, not changing them? So that's number one. There we go. Some of them are kind of already loosened. I did kind of loosen these up a little bit, but they still were pretty tight. The ones I did buy are already pre-gapped, so I can pretty much just drop in and tighten. But like I said, it's the right torque spec to 12 to 14. Number 2. This one is about the same as well. Camera will even focus on this. There we go, about the same. Still crusty, but nothing too bad. No oil on that one either, like I said. Now here we are in cylinder number 2, where this one was pretty bad of oil, but this one I am a little bit worried about. How much oil is going to be caked on this? Oh, whoops. Didn't even get it out. Yeah. See how bad. Oh boy, that is not looking the hottest. As you can tell, that is caked. And oil that is just saturated. So that, I'm glad we changed our seal, like I said. So now that we got that one off, last one. The cylinder wall seems pretty caked in there. Our last one. This one's also the same size as the second one, but 3 out of the 4 aren't that bad. All right, now that we got them out, we can go ahead and put in our new ones. Well, actually, let me go ahead and clean cylinder 2 all out real quick before I put these in. Just got the cylinder wall cleaned. It took 2 rags and it pretty much turned to black on the inside. But now what we can finally go ahead and do are install our new spark plugs. You can see much cleaner. These are already pre-gapped. It's So I won't even do anything too special. But make sure it sits in there right. The tube. And obviously you want to make sure you thread it in there very, very, very carefully. Don't want to cross thread. Our first one's in there, not tightened, but just in there. Obviously, like I said, be very, very, very careful. This is just not on this vehicle, it's on any vehicle you do the spark plugs. You do not want to cross thread these, because if you cross thread spark plug thread, you're pretty much buying an entire brand new head for this car, or pretty much any vehicle, because it's kind of hard to fix, I guess, threads for spark plugs. I mean, in fairness, this car's a nightmare to do already with the head, so. Well, now I want to do a head gasket on this. That's a spark plug. I think cylinder 3 we are at. Like I said, that one's in. 2 more to go. So now we are on to cylinder number 2, the culprit of all this. Now, I could have upgraded these to 500 Madness ones or the colder set, but like I said, I don't want to do anything too crazy to this car since it is my weekend car. And maybe eventually my daily, but still in project status as of right now. All right, that one's in. And now lastly, cylinder number 1. Hopefully I'm getting this right and it's not reversed where this is cylinder 1. But I'm pretty sure since the cam, or the crank, or the cam levels right here, I'm pretty sure that is cylinder number 1. I don't know, I might get the cylinder pattern. Most of my cars have only been 3 cylinders and 4 cylinders. But this is my first turbo 4-cylinder. All right, now looking down at them, they are all straight. So now I can go ahead and tighten these to 12 foot-pounds, 12, 14. So I'm basically just gonna eyeball them because my torque wrench is not digital, and I have I have the ones with the big handle. So I'm gonna go ahead and use, I'm gonna pretty much eyeball this, but I won't tighten them too tight, but I'll stop basically when my hand tells me to, if that makes any sense. That should be enough. That should be enough. Like I said, what I'm doing is probably a bad idea, but I don't really have the proper tools just yet. Until I get more funds. That should be that. And then finally, for the last one, push it straight. That looks like it felt kind of loose. Nope, we're good. All right, our new spark plugs are in, so now I can finally go ahead and reassemble everything that's taken off. It'll take me probably around, another 30 minutes. So like I said, I'm gonna just jump cut to all the parts being on, and then hopefully we can go ahead and start the car. I'm crossing my fingers it will start, but I'm pretty sure it will start. It was just some spark plugs, and then hopefully the harness is all right. I did bend it back, but I have confidence this car is going to start, and if it doesn't, I will light myself on fire. So like I said, we'll be back once all the stuff is on. All right, the car is back together. Everything is back where it should be. All the screws are where they should be. Nothing was missing except for one little piece. This is more of my bad, nothing too major, just a little clip. I remember what it clipped for, but I will put it back on later. Only thing I forgot to put on, but this is a huge moment. Because we're going to find out together, haven't started it yet, if the car is going to even turn over, misfire, or whatever else it's going to do. I'm very, very nervous because like I said, it's been 2 weeks waiting for parts, putting this together. The biggest issue what was happening is it will leak oil because the valve cover gasket was not done right, but I made sure this was done right. So we're gonna go ahead and start this car together. So got the key right here. Hope the guy starts. By the way, it's 12 o'clock at night. All right, it's good news. We got that. That key, please. All right, we're gonna find out. All right, that's a good sign. Let's get out and look. Okay, it started. No ticking, no misfire. We did it. Oh my God, I actually did it. It's not broken just yet. All right, let's get back in and look. Oh, I'm smelling a lot of gas. Okay. I'm smelling a lot of gas. That might be normal. I have no idea. I'm hoping to God it's normal. It started though. No misfire, no ticking. The big thing will be the oil. Oh, we're gonna look again. It seems to sound like it's running better too a little bit now with all this new stuff in. It may run even better once we replace the coil packs too. No burning. I can't really eyeball the valve cover. I'm just gonna have to watch that. Alright, I'm let the car run for 10-15 minutes and I'll get back to you guys, let you give you guys an update to see how bad it really is or if it keeps running the way it should. Alright, we are back. I just got done with the 15-minute test driving. The car seems to run just fine. No leaks, no weird noises. The smoke's mostly gone. That smell of gas was probably the brake cleaner, which is officially all gone. But the car is back. It runs just fine. So new valve cover gasket, spark plug tube seals, and spark plugs. So yeah, we did it. I am extremely happy now that the car is actually functional and drivable. I will keep checking for oil leaks in the valve cover gasket. Obviously, will be kind of hard to tell because everything is covered up. So if I want to check, I'll be looking from underneath or on the sides. But I'll check the oil every periodically and probably take the cover off every now and then just to double check. But we're back. We are officially back and running. So now all I have to do is a little bit more maintenance, which next will be the oil and the gear oil for the transmission, which that should be pretty easy. The oil's already changed on my body, but just as a precaution, I'm gonna go and change it, and I bet the gear oil's never been changed. So without that out of the way, I hope you found this video helpful. Obviously, it was a bit all over the place because I said I'd be changing 2 things, ended up changing 3 things on the last minute, and the video kind of jump cutting from a week when I started to 2 weeks now. But yeah, we're done. The Fiat is officially back running oil like it should be. Set that out of the way. See you next video. So, see you.